I have a book like this, and this is the book I read 40 some years ago. I read this book 100 times, maybe more, and I want to talk about it. I'm 76. This is 40 some years ago I read. And the sentence I was just reading, the page at the beginning part of it, is still so valid, and it's so fresh as if I'm reading it the first time. So it's kind of scary, but my view of this, which I want to talk about, the sentences I've got here, is inspiring, and yet my mind is fresh, young. That's why I'm still resonating. So the sentences all read many times, but still fresh. Does that mean I'm still retarded, or I have the beginner's mind to remind what's important? I think it's the words of wisdom I want to talk about and related to this. Anyway, let me just read a few sentences. This is the guy who was with Daisetsu for many years, and he wrote the summary of his experience. And this was so interesting that not Daisetsu's book himself, but Shimura is his name. He is so inspired and be able to package the whole idea into this, not the thick book. So it was easy to carry any place. So I traveled and read it. So there are many red lines and all over the place. And in this trip from Santa Monica, I decided to bring this. And I just opened the first page. And then here we go. I want to share this and how you may respond or react, or maybe you don't feel anything. Everyone is different, so any sentence may have some inspiring idea, or it may just pass by. But let me just share. So he is talking that as we get older and live in the world with a society of lots of things going on, then the wisdom is gone, and you develop the sense of how to deal with whatever the situation around. So that, as a result of it, you may just follow the authority, or just to make a judgment which is very limited, and live life with not much liveliness. And it's a little twisted, and that's not the way that you want to live, but that's what can happen. I think he's thinking about the Japanese salaried man, the man working, but this is an old book. So it's the same even in the past or even now. Maybe even now it gets worse. So he says, as a result of living life like that, then your sense of feeling, emotion, that it's not purified, and then you don't pay much attention to it. So you often forget about it. So even to the point that you don't want to be snow, which is sincere and truthful, but rather hide that sense away and then twist it. So for that reason, some people maybe even do something like killing someone for the sake of money or for the sake of fame. They may lie and get by, whatever. Such things have happened. Or you may have the seat in an authority, and then you may pressure other weaker guys, and using the society's power, and may cause lots of trouble for others, but you may not feel it, even causing some disaster situation. So by not purifying your mind, then the person cannot treat other person as important. And yet, in the world of the adults, that may be found as obvious or something like that. So how can we be not like that? And so that's just a few paragraphs I read, and I was thinking, that's so true. And I wondered why I felt so refreshed with this sentence, which I've read many, many times, but still fresh. I don't know, but I was in Santa Monica and now in New Zealand. There may be something to do with it. In one of the videos I said, as I looked at what was on the refrigerator, the idea of when to eat what, and I caught many of those, all of those, the kingfish, a power, a abalone, a mussel, and others, and the date and which, how much proportion I'm to eat, because they need to be consumed in the refrigerator and the freezer and moving around, when to eat what in a balanced manner. It sounds like a stupid thing, but to best optimize the food with nutrition and amount and what I caught, I needed to have that one just as a way of making things easy to understand for me. What is in the refrigerator without opening up, and how much of those and that is left in this package and that package. So it's visual. It's like my book I wrote about waste elimination, making things visual if it's important, so that you don't have to go up and down and open the refrigerator, count and how much more and how many and all that stuff. So when I saw that, I switched my mind from the Santa Monica mind of doing this and that and working with the lawyers in a way about the revocable trust or the tax issues and the computer. I bought a new computer, and there are lots of problems that I faced, and there's so much detailed stuff that you have to work on. They call it the keychain and the password and this and that. And my computer is old, 10 years old, so I have to adjust to this new way of things. But it's so cumbersome, even to prepare for the trip and going through the airport and all the clicking this and that and showing this document, and things get very confusing and convoluted in this society. So you become a slave of the system. And I thought about it. I thought about this way, that as the society develops, things get better and you have a better system, so that you need to communication information back and forth quickly, so that you are not wasting your time waiting or anything like that. But for the sake of not wasting time and waiting, you create additional protocol, the way to deal with the situation, and then because you can be forgetful on your system, so that causes more trouble. And you wonder what's the point of living like this? But to be able to go from B to A or A to B, from Santa Monica to New Zealand, I cannot miss if something goes wrong. And those things happen because at the airport they said my visa is not quite right or some such thing, and I get scared. I mean, it is officially done and okay, but their system, and it took maybe 10 minutes or more. And I had those experiences here and there. At the bank too, come to think about it. At the Chase Bank, I was to define the beneficiary who is to go where, in what account. And for that, I think it took 1 hour or so, simple thing, because the typical case is from individual to individual, but this was individual myself to the non-profit organization. So they're not used to it. So they have to call the head office and figure out, and it took 1 hour. So it's necessary, the legal issues and things get done in a proper manner. I thought about my book was all about that. The first book, New Manufacturing Challenge, how to develop the flow of manufacturing, the values through the system when things get convoluted. And I made my work working with the companies too, because I've written books and the videos and traveled around the world to do the seminars and so forth. So that is to be able to do many things with different varieties of product and service people require, and have a system without much inventory, but organizing in such a manner that things flow through without waste, while integrating people's talent for each of those steps to take place so that they can develop this flow and the whole complex system can work out. And I'm seeing that that is happening, as much as I wrote the book and did work with companies by just visiting this case in the bank and also at the airport for the custom or the immigration process and all of that. It's just crazy. Maybe that's why I felt the sense that this guy Shimura wrote about people lose sight of genuine sense of living, but become the slave and also become the authority with the pride to say, I know things and you have to come to me. And all that kind of stuff is totally against the basic human appreciating the people's talent and work together. But the history is such that those progression is helpful, but the process of doing it can cause harm and make people to be not like a lively, but rather to become the slave of the system, bureaucracy, and not to say anything because you just lose your energy. So the sentence is the phrase that I mentioned from this book, just the first page, just tied to my current experience of living here and there and living according to the system, but be prepared. And all the password and keychain, all the new things happening in the computer and the system, the people and the political system and all that kind of stuff. We shouldn't be the slave of the system. We should have this fresh sense as if a young children can run around from the heart, not to be managed by the robot or some kind of a computer system that you become the pig, of responding to it, and be cautious about how to protect your, situation and still be able to do, but under this system. As I picture people going to work in Tokyo or any place, Santa Monica, driving and many cars and doing this and that. In the back is those. So, back to this story of the book of Shimura. I think it's valid, and it may be more valid now of how things are happening. And maybe that's what it is that I need to keep reminding myself about what is in here, how to go over. Maybe I say one more thing. Charlie Munger, I thought about. He used the word invert. It's kind of like if you want to achieve something, get rid of things that you shouldn't be doing. It's like a waste elimination idea. And I agree with that. And he doesn't talk much, but when he talks, he talks about the essence of what he believes in. And his posture is like a Zen monk, and I like him. And he says, don't go where you may die. So we should plan to live life where we may be stressed out and be a part of this mechanism, and you cannot have the creativity and the joy of life. Like I see kids at the park in Santa Monica, nearby where I played pickleball, and they're just running around and having fun aimlessly, but with the passion of how to live. And we shouldn't leave that. We shouldn't leave this sense. And at this age, 76, I feel more and more, I feel younger and younger and become maybe more crazy, not fit to the society's norm. But I think there's a good reason that you don't want to sit and fit into the society's norm. Back there, I noticed the Beatles song. What's the name of it? The guy top on the hill. I can see the middle. Anyway, the story of this guy sitting at the top of the hill and watching the sun and the earth turning around, and nobody knows him. And that is inspiring. When I came here the first night, I explained in the video, I saw the stars outside the window. And I melt into the universe. It's unbelievable. It's out there and it's here. But we may not see it. When our mind is corrupt or twisted, emotion, the feeling get lost. And let's not be like that. To a degree, you should be like a Charlie Manga. Or, I don't know, maybe Fool on the Hill. I think that's the message. I'm sending this video, YouTube video, because I don't want to lose that. And I wish there's a way that we can enjoy life and not to be the burden, or even though we may help improve the system by do new mechanism and all that, because of the projection that as human we can do more, that maybe AI can help. But we need to have the spirit and the vision moving forward so that we don't lose the sense of childlike fun, desire, and yet be able to contribute without being too much burdened by the system and the protocol of how things happen. I wish I can write a book again, but I don't think so. I don't think it's not gonna be a good time for me to use to do something like that. But I hope some people may listen and talk within themselves or communicate and enjoy life as we are meant to, hopefully. Thank you.